بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. To Sheikh Talib Ghalib, the regional assistant to the Mufti of Uganda, Bunyoro region, to Sheikh Muhsin Mutagubia, Soul Cocktail director, to Sheikh Mudaffar Chibirango, an administrator sa Apollo Kagwa schools, Hajat Khadija, who is the head of my government, my wife you might say, in absentia though, Dr. Nema, Hajat Fatuma Namju, Coach Sharifa Namsisi, Coach Shakira, Hajat Janat, Al-Hidayah Islam Media, Ministry of Internal Affairs, dignitaries, diplomats around, different communities present, Nigerian community, Somali community, all, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, before I even proceed with the 18 minutes I'm remaining with, normally I want to throw a question to my audience to just check the people I'm dealing with. Now, I need just a gentleman to answer this question. What does your money is our money and my money is my money? What does that mean? I need one gent and one female to answer that. Please.
The one with the microphone, please.
Do we have any? We have a gentleman. Yes, please.
Habibi fanya haraka.
Of a legitimate marriage, someone who has committed him or herself to be your partner in that entity, it's something beautiful. Now, the reason why I'm stressing that, I'm just clearing and sweeping away someone who might assume the entitlement of being a wife or maybe being a husband, yet they are not legally married. Now, we have to appreciate the reality. The feeling alone that comes with the title of being a wife to someone is totally different, not even close, to someone who is basically sleeping with someone. Now, Islam wants to prepare your mind as a Muslim, or maybe someone who does, even when you're not a Muslim, to appreciate the reality that even when you don't subscribe to this religion, the sweetness in being a husband to someone is not like any other experience, even when you're sleeping with this lady, the so-called cohabiting situation. Now, every sane mind would like to prioritize that, to make sure they are having a family rooted from such a beautiful family, and that experience is the experience that Islam came to design and present to you. Secondly, as the young community, youths, no one cares about your individual marriage experience. Of course, I'm a Ugandan. I'm a sheikh built by this country. No one cares. Not the mainstream media. It doesn't care whether you become a husband or not, whether you become a wife or not. No one is bothered. Now, you're on your own. Gone are days where your father took up the responsibility for you as a girl to make sure he's looking around for someone who would like to take you up as a wife. Now, they don't have that power anymore because you're even here. Your father isn't here. It's only our father, Sheikh Harun, that is present. Maybe and a few. Now, your father is not concerned. Your mother is not concerned. Even the Sengas, actually, they are out of content because you're in another generation and they're also in another generation. Now, no one cares because even the society has designed making immorality easy and marriage difficult. Now, as a reminder, you're not affecting anyone with your being single. Because no one cares. It to a level that even your father is not bothered. Your mother is not bothered. We have a father that is even shy to ask a daughter, where is my son-in-law? Even the mothers, no one is bothered by that. Now that is the situation we are in as the young community. Thirdly, now we have this unnecessary societal pressure when it comes to attacking marriage. This whole gender roles. When you interview men, they are like ladies are hell. When you interview ladies, everyone is negative to the other. Now that unnecessary pressure has also contributed a lot to your being single. Because whenever someone is talking about marriage, they are portraying this bad picture of marriage, forgetting that that bad picture of marriage is there because marriage is for human beings. There is a reason as to why animals don't get into this whole commitment level. It's with you because you're too complex as a creature. Now we want to see some people who are married and they are enjoying marriage. Please inspire others, because the whole society is being engineered to portray the bad picture of marriage. What are you trying to insinuate? Are you trying to mean that people who are outside marriage are enjoying a lot and people who are too serious to a level of starting families with kids with the source that is legitimate? And you're trying to mean that that is too bad? Definitely no, and that's why we are here. If you are married someone, please, thank you for being useful to this society. Because it takes a lot to keep being a wife for a year. It takes a lot to continue being a providing husband for 2 years. Now that's not for just basically a female and a male. Islam wants you to understand that as someone who is in this summit. Lastly, problematic marriages definitely are as a result of this unprepared foundation. Many of us think that all you need to get to marriage is emotions and desires. Some people are married and all that attracted you from the opposite gender is basically stuff that have to do with biology. Come on, you're a human being that reasons. The reason as to why you have desires and you're attracted to a lady is because you're basically a man. Now you find attraction into a lady. Now it's because of that reason that people end up being in what they claim to be marriage, yet in real sense, the foundation is down. Now how many stories are we appreciating now as a society as a result of people being unserious 10 years back, and then they think it's our business today? Now Islam comes to prepare, and that's why we have this as a topic. Marriage is an entity that is not just going to come as revelation from Allah. It needs preparation. And as a young youth and a Muslim who is a parent of a kid tomorrow, maybe son and daughter, you really have to understand that the approach of Islam is, in order to have a sustainable marriage, a marriage that is full of beauty, full of niceness, it comes from the foundation. What are the principles that you considered to build your marriage onto? Now, if you don't have credible responses to that question, that is why you don't even relate with your husband. Just imagine that statement: I don't understand my husband doesn't understand me. Why are you even married now? The reason as to why you don't understand each other, you have very many questions you never responded to at the right time. Now it's time for you to deal with that. Now Islam wants to give this foundation to make sure in 10 years from now, you're not disturbing counselors. Why are you giving us lots of your money just to make sure someone comes with marriage stuff that is too stiff, and then you're wondering, where am I going to start to just solve this problem? Because it is rooted from the whole foundation. Now Islam comes with some guidelines. Guideline number 1, please understand that marriage is an informed decision. Just like any other financial decision, just like any other economic decision, if you decide to be a married partner to someone, a spouse to someone, it has to be an informed decision. Because we have very serious, with this level of unseriousness of Muslims who basically think you really have to rely on to only Allah. It's like your Jibril. No revelation is going to come to you. So Allah is basically giving you the guidelines to understand that if you want to deal with a husband, you need time to sit, relax. Before you give your hand in marriage to a certain man, it needs to be an informed decision. Psychologically, it means there are lots of cards you're putting on place or maybe on the table. You make sure you turn every card to make sure you make that decision. That's why Allah intervenes and He's like, فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. So long as you're serious, you're giving your brains a lot of work, and you get to a point of getting convinced that this is now my partner for life, this is a wife worth graduating to that position, فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. You have done your part. Please rely on Allah. Leave the rest to Him. Now what we do today, you want Allah to do everything. You meet this man who is having a beard with a kanzu. Because he even speaks some verses and some ahadiths, you're off the hook. Not knowing, it has nothing to do with being a husband. Come on, you're going to marry a human being, not a title. It is very possible for someone to be a president somewhere, good at that, and they have poor characters. Now Islam comes to give another guideline in that angle in one verse. Time is limited. Let me only explain this one verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Rum was like, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا. Now many times you pin us as sheikhs and you're like, we are good at only giving these whole verses and these whole authentic traditions from the Prophet, and we don't have the art of connecting between the revelation and what is happening today. Come on, that is not the weakness of Allah, it's the weakness of us as those who are delivering. Because Allah is like, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ. If you're serious and you want to just check amongst the signs of Allah, أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا, is the ability of Allah to create within amongst yourselves spouses. Allah is informing you, someone who recites the Quran and understand, the reason as to why you have a wife who is your fellow human being, because a human being is designed to appreciate easily someone who is in the same caliber with them, most especially in the trait of nature. Now, had it been the other way around, being a man as a human being and a jinn as a wife, probably the level of compatibility wouldn't even be in line. But Allah is like, min anfusikum. You have to choose within your fellow human beings a lady, azwaja, to make sure you get spouses, husband and wife. Now some scholars in only that portion of the verse were like, how many of us are too serious to a level when you get to choosing a wife or maybe graduating someone to be a husband, are you too serious to a level of just appreciating that the reason as to why Allah created you in the same class biologically, to just contribute into making it easy for you to connect with someone? Because as a man, you have to be logical with lots of senses, because you're going to be a leader, a father, you're a head of a family. Some lady is waiting for you to take up that position. You need to be logical in that angle. As a lady, you need to be a queen of emotions. Now, it takes a lot for a man to understand that when a lady is speaking about something, she is prioritizing emotions because that is her dimension. That is her reasoning. The beauty of her is built within the emotions. Now, as someone who is logical, we are not going to want our man to be too much emotional, because that is now deficiency within you. Neither are we going to need a lady to be too much logical. No one is going to want to make you a wife. Isn't that enough to just show you how complex you are as a human being? Now Allah is like, Mina anfusikum mazwaja. Please, you're human beings. Allah made it a point to make sure you're in the same class. That is it. Allah gave a reason. Litaskunu ilayha. Litaskunu ilayha, it's derived from an Arabic literal word, as sakina. Sakina basically meaning the reason as to why you need to think about marriage as a couple, to make sure each one is prioritizing being a peace giver to the other. How many of us have invested into just making sure the wife you're graduating to be your wife is going to be a peace giver and prioritizes your peace? And how many ladies are even taking it as a point that a man that is going to be my husband needs to be someone who prioritizes your peace? Now, every community is just getting lost into details. You know, someone who is peaceful is someone who gives you a lot of time. Someone who is peaceful is someone who... Come on. Allah is not too anxious to a level of addressing those personal difference details. The principle is one, litaskunu ilayha. As someone who wants a family that is going to be stable for years, having this strong pillar, foundational one, you prioritize that. Now, how many of you are peace givers to the others? Don't you really think that angle, litaskunu ilayha? Because some of you, but this is a reality. This young community has it in mind that they are the generators of love. Actually, even ladies, we don't know who graduated you to that situation. You actually take it and you're like, we are the queens of love. Those men are not kings of love. Allah is educating the Muslim fraternity. Litaskunu ilayha, you prioritize peace as the primary objective of any marriage. Because if that peace is not there, definitely even the love you claim you're attached to, it's going to get off in years. Now, it is too sensitive in a way that people are unserious to a level that we are even having gender identity issues. It is a reality that you're going to get a husband who has not yet even appreciated the fact that he's a man. He's still struggling. Am I really a man or not? Now, just imagine that marriage. Imagine a marriage of a lady who has issues with just finding confidence into being a lady. You know, you are a lady. You're too powerful in this angle. You're too powerful in this angle. That is your wife in making. Now, the peace in Islamic marriage as a foundation, Allah is like, come on. This is where you get to appreciate that you really have to appreciate the differences between the two at the foundation level. The first difference, the difference in backgrounds. Don't you really think a Ugandan society today, because we are in Uganda, doesn't it apply to check the background of your spouse? You're waiting for an angel and a revelation to tell you that, okay, please, as a husband, it is crucial to check the background of the mother of your kids. Now, that background alone speaks voices. How many kids amongst us here are products of single parenting? Doesn't that affect your behavior as a man tomorrow? How many of you are products of families where violence is? Maybe the definition of a responsible man this side is someone who is planning to be too much toxic, and it's generational. It's derived from the father, and the father got it from the grandfather. Now, that's a lot to just prepare a mind to know. Please, those differences speak voices. If you need peace, a long-lasting marriage, then you prioritize that. As young people, to have that question. Okay, inshallah. Now, we also have this whole society financial pressure. You know why I asked a question? How many of you have thought of it? And that is your wife now. Your money is our money. That is not something that is derived from the Islamic wisdom. Islamic wisdom doesn't put the verdict onto money. Put it onto money, it's not her business. She needs your providing. So even when you have less, even when you have a lot, so long as you're providing, that's what she needs out of you. Now, as a young lady, you will also prioritize it in a way. If you have your money is our money, you're designing your mind to appreciate someone just because they are rich. Since when did you put your life in risk because of someone just attaining money without even bothering Yazifunati? The Islamic position is like, come on, be serious. If someone is a man, you need the discipline of him providing for you. Tonnaba kumanya the pain a wife has in a home ngachi money, the man is well off and they are not providing. Now you don't want to pin Islam for that unseriousness. Allah yalimu angunyo, because we even have the Islamic law of inheritance. Esente zigabanwa almost muchala oyo abana bo and almost everyone. When it comes to providing, it's obligatory to provide to your wife, not to someone you're only talking to. Actually, it should be a sign of someone, a man who is responsible. We don't check your levels of providing when you're just arrogantly and exaggerating in providing to ladies you're trying to vibe. It is the same reason your sensible wife would take if he's in position to give you a car before marriage. What makes you think you're the last one? Now you need a man who is serious in the mind to understand because you invest where you see. May Allah give us that guidance. Now, of course, we are time bad, but I just wanted to throw that light to the nation. Please, when Allah is like litaskunu ilayha wa ja'ala bainakum mawaddatan wa rahma, Allah took up the role of making sure He is the one that instills what you call love, what you call mercy. It's the job of Allah, not your job. Because even when you love your wife a lot to the clouds, so long as she's too disrespectful, wallahi al-azim, the love is going to get down. That is not our own creation. Even when you love your husband a lot, and this husband is too disrespectful, not even respecting your parents, the love is getting down. Now, instead of rushing into love, we need to love each other, we need to connect. Come on, love is not your own generation. It will come. When you work on the compatibility, when you work on the sweetness, what puts you together, what are the fields together, we get to a level of, do you really think every wife has the art of understanding how to handle a troubled man with lot on mind? Don't you really think it's something you need to train your wife to become? Hajat Fatima was here and was like, by the time Prophet died, Aisha radiyallahu anha was a scholar. She taught many as a wife to the Prophet. Your wife is a scholar in what? All you have is tetwetegera. For 5 years, definitely you're not going to understand each other because you're a man and a woman. Check strength into what puts you together. Now that is a challenge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us that approach. Now if we have that, Allah is like, that alone, if you understand that verse, it's something that is going to grant you to understand that Allah wants you to be a society that reasons, please invest into your marriages, just like you invest into your businesses. Marriage is bigger than your business. It's the only production avenue of your sons and daughters. Mind about whoever is going to be the father to your kids, and mind to whoever is going to be the mother to your kids. You get to a point of, even when you part ways, as I'm winding up, in another verse, Allah even made it a point to train our minds, because people are all too obsessed with marriage. You get to a point of knowing that marriage is the end, the beginning, and the only achievement. If it fails, chiganye. Because this society today is too much compromised with very many factors that are going to affect young marriages to enter into toxic marriages, because they were unserious at the foundational level. Chances are high they are going to fail, because Allah is like at-tayyibatu lit-tayyibin. The principle from the Islamic wisdom is the good, morally upright ladies definitely attract the good, morally upright men in a way that even when you're unserious at the beginning into choosing the father to your kids, matter of fact, if you're sensible, you're going to divorce. There is another good moral man waiting for you as a good moral lady to get in that marriage. But because you were unserious at the start, Allah is giving you another chance. And that's why he was like, wal khabithatu lil khabithin. Vis-a-vis the immoral minded ones, people of bad character, they attract each other. Someone who has slept a lot here in cohabitation, and someone who has slept a lot here, even your discussion aligns. You know the lines that are used when you want to vibe this lady. And now this lady is also awaiting, my man, you're supposed to know those lines. How dare you are not in control of handling a woman? If you're filthy this side and you're filthy this side, that marriage will proceed, no? Because you know that immorality put you together. Leave moral people to get in line with their fellow moral. So Allah is basically giving you confidence. There is a chance, because you are unserious as a youth, prioritizing beauty. You don't even know what is beauty. You really think Prophet's guidance saying that asking many companions, hal navarta ilayha? A companion marching to the Prophet and is like, I'm going to marry a lady. Always Prophet was like, hal navarta ilayha. The Arabic students, you know, an-nazar, it basically means majalul litafkir li'adami wuduhihi. Something that needs an-nazar, it's something that you extend into analyzing that goes beyond the physicality of the looks. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide you beautiful wives tomorrow. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide to you handsome
Ameen.
Men tomorrow. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who are in marriage, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you peace in that marriage. And lastly, please, as a husband, and maybe as a wife, this is now for the married. The single ones, we are sorry. If you're a husband, please mind who you keep in your circle. Yes, find time in a week, sit with your fellow sensible men and discuss about your stuff. Yes, being in a group as the only married man is not helping you in any way. As a leader, you have titles to swim around. You're a leader of your family. That means you need to be very serious. And you need to be a joker. Because your wife doesn't only need a serious one. You need to be also playful. Your kids are also waiting. Now, those titles need skills. How have you prepared yourself? Do you know your limitations when it comes to joking with your wife, to make sure she doesn't manipulate your position as a leader? Tomani, and you're planning to marry. Now, and as a wife also, you have titles to swim around. As a wife, as a mother, and maybe as a working lady. This is our now today challenge. Balancing between work being an effective mother, to being an effective wife. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate us in that angle. Let's get to the level of appreciating, creating marriage hubs within. I'm happy, Sheikh Osama, in a way, that this is a forum where we sheikhs, we are at this, in the same ambience with coaches, counselors. Now, the Muslim society needs this. We're not actually, we need to even find space to discuss how are we going to help people of our belief system to make sure their marriages are too serious. Because matter of fact, no one cares. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that. Thanks for indulging me. Wa barakallahu fikum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.